Hey Gearfax friends, I am so impressed with the VOX VX50KB keyboard amplifier. Okay, let's kick this off with a little bit of a musical introduction. I know this isn't a perfect way of doing it, but I'm going to use this high resolution recorder pointed straight at the amp just to give an idea of its depth and clarity. Okay, so a bit of a range of musical styles there. Let's have a closer look at the amp itself. I guess it's unlikely that I need to actually talk you through any of this, but it's better than standing here silently for 5 minutes. Anyway, I was using channels 1 and 2 there to put my stereo source in, and then we've got a third channel here which can be switched between line and mic. In other words, if you're using a stereo keyboard and you're also singing through a microphone, you can add a little bit of boost for the mic using that switch there. The keyboard, of course, has its own boost. We can then change the volume of each of these channels independently, and there's a little warning light if any of the input signals are clipping. 3-band equalizer here controls the entire mix. And starting from the other end, we've got the headphone socket, the stereo auxiliary in, so really we're up to 5 channels now that can go into this amp simultaneously because the auxiliary in is stereo. This is the on-off switch here. Hold it for 2 seconds to power up, 2 seconds to power down. Master volume, a phase button here that might help you cancel out a little bit of noise. And this little series of blue lights here, you don't have to worry about that, but what it indicates is the new technology that VOX has developed, which is meant to basically replace and sound like a vacuum tube. They subtly admit in their own marketing that it's not quite the full vacuum tube quality, but it runs on a fraction of the power and it never needs replacing. There's also a line out here if you wanted to plug it into a mixing desk or recording system or something like that. And the last 2 things I'll mention about the physical design are that it's incredibly light. It'd be the lightest amp of this size, 8-inch speaker, that I've ever picked up. And finally, the styling. Awesome. Classic VOX. Okay, back on the high-res recorder again. I'm just going to hold it up real close and we'll have a listen to the background noise that's coming through the amp. All amps will give you a little bit of background noise, but I have the worst electrics in the world in this house, and this amp's doing really well. Let's zoom in and see what happens. And that's with the mic set on very high sensitivity, so I can only barely hear it with my head this close to the amp. Good noise levels. Finally, we're going to turn it right up and see how it copes with some bassy noises at high volume. Will there be any distortion? Let's find out. Well, that was pretty loud. I thought I heard a couple of very tiny artifacts there, but then it was exactly the same both times when I hit the note twice, so maybe that was actually in the keyboard. Let's just try it once more. Okay, well I heard nothing that time. I know the sense of volume doesn't quite come through the same when you're watching a YouTube video, but that was loud enough to do a small gig or a band practice, and there is still a bit more headroom because I could turn the mixer settings right up as well. The input settings were on 50% for that particular demonstration, but I think we've reached the volume limit for 9 PM in the middle of the week. The next thing to consider is the level of detail. Very important for keyboard amps that they can pick up all the nuance in the beats of your keyboard and those sort of high-end synth sounds that can be quite crisp and delicate, and being that way they can sometimes get swallowed up by the bass end. So I'm going to try the keyboard at two extremes. Well, that sounded good to me. Everything was coming through nice, loud, clear, and detailed. So in summary, friends, it looks great, it sounds great, it's as light as a feather. Many of you will be asking, does it have Bluetooth? No, it does not. And also, does it run on batteries? Also a no. But I am more than happy. It's really nice to have something in your studio that makes you smile every time you switch it on. That's what all your musical instruments should be. You should always get the things that make you smile, and the VOX VX50KB keyboard amplifier certainly does that for me. Thanks for watching Gear Facts. Please hit me up with any comments or questions, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.